After spending the summer cheering Italy onto victory at Euro 2020, Serie A fans couldn't wait for another domestic season to begin. There were no fewer than 5 coaching changes among Italy's 7 sisters. Juventus brought Massimiliano Allegri back to Turin after a stunning first spell that featured 5 league titles in as many years. Lazio also turned to a Scudetto-winning tactician in the shape of Maurizio Sarri. While coaching royalty moved to the other side of the capital, as Roma appointed José Mourinho. Elsewhere, Luciano Spalletti was the man tasked with trying to deliver a first league title to Napoli in more than 3 decades. And Simone Inzaghi was chosen to replace Antonio Conte as Inter sought to defend their league crown. While Milan and Atalanta hoped continuity would provide the secret to success.
Inter's 19th league title the previous season had ended a 9-year stretch of Juventus domination, and the Nerazzurri's return to glory served as inspiration for their rivals.
Canale will strike in! Free kicks don't come much better than that!
Ruiz! The quality of Napoli, irresistible.
Particularly when Juventus made a stuttering start to the season at Udinese.
Szczesny taking a gamble or two, an unnecessary gamble. Here's della.
Before losing at home to Serie B champions Empoli in Matchday 2.
And there's a chance for Mancuso, and it's Empoli who take the lead.
If the Tuscan side were making waves, it would take fellow top-flight new boys Venezia and Salernitana slightly longer to find their feet.
Tammy Abraham! His first goal in Italian football is a beauty.
As they both lost their opening 2 games. 3 straight defeats to begin the campaign for Hellas Verona.
Potrai! It's the debut goal, and it's the winner!
Put a swift end to Eusebio Di Francesco's time in the dugout, as he became the first coaching casualty of the season after just 99 days in the job. He would be joined by Leonardo Semplici as Cagliari called time on his tenure after letting a 2-goal lead slip at home to Genoa.
Mohamed Fares, 3-2 Genoa.
Correa wasn't the only new signing for Inter to hit the ground running.
Debut goal for Ciananolu!
As the Nerazzurri began their title defence with 6 points from 6.
Another debut goal! And look how much it means to Edin Dzeko!
Before the champions twice squandered the lead at Sampdoria.
Agello scores Sampdoria's seconds!
Milan inflicted a first defeat on new Lazio boss Maurizio Sarri.
Rebic finds Ibrahimovic, and Milan double their advantage.
Napoli left it late to defeat rivals Juventus.
And it's in by Koulibaly!
And José Mourinho's Roma were also among the early pace setters. As an added time winner from Stefan El Shaarawy.
The 91st minute, El Shaarawy wins the game.
Made it an extra special milestone for the Portuguese coach, with a 2-1 victory over Sassuolo in the 1000th match of his illustrious coaching career, which left only 3 sides with a 100% record come the end of Matchday 3.
From euphoria in the Eternal City to bedlam at the Bentegodi, where Verona boss Igor Tudor's reign began with a stunning 3-2 win over the Giallorossi, which featured a beauty from Davide Faraoni.
It's a goal out of this world.
In a heavyweight clash in Turin, Juventus and Milan shared the spoils.
And it's in from Ante Rebic!
As the Rossoneri dropped points for the first time, while Allegri was still looking for his first win. While in Friuli, Napoli's perfect start to the season continued with a statement win over Udinese.
Lozano now, and there is the fourth goal.
Luciano Spalletti's men followed up a 4-0 victory in Udine with a 4-0 win at Marassi.
Fabian Ruiz can measure it!
While Matchday 5 also saw a first league win of the season for Juventus at Spezia.
Delict! 2-1 down to 3-2 up.
There were two crunch games the following week, as Inter and Atalanta traded 4 goals at San Siro.
Ruslan Malinovsky produces a perler at San Siro.
And in their first derby in the capital, Maurizio Sarri's Lazio got the better of Jose Mourinho's Roma, thanks in part to a Giallorossi old boy.
Immobile looking to test Mancini for pace. Instead he can tee up Pedro. What a story this would be! What a story it is!
So after half a dozen matches, Napoli boasted a 100% record, while both Milan clubs were still unbeaten. But it promised to be a tough campaign for Salernitana and Cagliari, who were still seeking their first wins of the season. If the Derby della Capitale had taken centre stage the previous week, the focus was on the Derby della Mole in Matchday 7, as Juventus left it late.
This is Locatelli breaking forward and surely winning it for Juventus!
To see off rivals Torino and continue their resurgence with a third straight win. And having drawn at Inter, Atalanta would come unstuck at home to Milan.
What a gift this could be for Milan! Tonali there to profit!
Matchday 8 would be notable, as it marked champions Inter's first loss of the season at Lazio, while Napoli continued their perfect start at home to Torino.
Napoli may well have preserved their 100% record.
And despite having secured a first victory the previous week over Genoa, Salernitana ran out of patience with head coach Fabrizio Castori, as the Granata were defeated at Spezia.
Victor Kovalenko! Spezia have come from behind!
After a narrow win over Roma in Matchday 8, Juventus went to San Siro for the Derby d'Italia on the back of 4 straight victories. Yet they would need a late Paulo Dybala penalty.
One apiece!
To come away from Inter with a point. Matchday 9 would showcase the Rossoneri's resilience.
Musa Barrow! The 10 men of Bologna are back on level terms!
As Stefano Pioli's Milan scored twice late on at Bologna to win 4-2.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic! And Milan are heading top of the Serie A table!
And join Napoli at the Serie A summit.
Osimhen with the header off the crossbar.
After Luciano Spalletti's men were held at his former club, Roma.
In Matchday 10, Juventus's flaws would be further exposed by a shock home defeat to Sassuolo.
Maxime Lopez! Sassuolo, for the first time in their history, win at the Juventus Stadium.
Before another loss, this time in Verona, just 3 days later.
Simeone! He simply cannot stop scoring!
If Simeone was hogging the headlines for Ellis, Dusan Vlahovic went from strength to strength for free-scoring Fiorentina.
Kehan Vlahovic! There's the hat-trick!
The following weekend was even more memorable as Matchday 12 had the lot. Drama.
Okereke! 3-2 Venezia!
Heartbreak.
Juan Cuadrado, he's got half a yard! It's the former Fiorentina man!
Hostility.
Çalhanoğlu! The man who crossed the divide! Milan back on level terms!
And misery, as Davide Ballardini was dismissed by Genoa despite a late equaliser at Empoli.
So after a dozen matches, both Milan and Napoli remained unbeaten, with an astonishing 32 points from a possible 36, to leave champions Inter 7 adrift and playing catch-up. In matchday 13, Milan travelled to Florence. And despite a brace from Zlatan Ibrahimovic, became the latest side to suffer at the hands of Vlahovic, eventually losing 4-3.
A mistake from Teo Hernandez, pounced on by you-know-who.
That handed an opportunity to rivals Inter and Napoli, who met the following evening at the Meazza. And despite an excellent start from the visitors,
What a chance for Zielinski! And Napoli strike first!
the Nerazzurri surged ahead and cut the lead to 4 in the title race.
This is Lautaro Martinez, the angle's tight! But he finds the corner!
Courtesy of a 3-2 victory. While a teenage sensation burst onto the scene for Roma at Marassi.
My goodness, that is special. A brace from Felix Afenagian.
To deny Andriy Shevchenko a precious point in his opening match as Genoa boss. The top half of the table had a familiar look after 13 matches, while there had been no real change in fortunes for either Salernitana or Cagliari, despite the appointments of Stefano Colantuono and Walter Mazzari.
After going a dozen matches unbeaten to begin the campaign, Milan followed up their loss in Florence with another defeat.
Barati. He just loves scoring against Milan.
As Sassuolo triumphed 3-1 at San Siro, affording Napoli the chance to move clear at the top, provided they could see off Lazio coach and former favourite Maurizio Sarri. They did so, and how, with Dries Mertens coming to the fore.
Another beauty from the Belgian!
In yet another 4-0 win for the Azzurri. Inter did their bit in Venice, while Atalanta claimed a famous win in Turin.
Zapata! Atalanta take the lead!
Ending a 32-year wait for another victory at Juventus.
La Dea had found momentum as Gasparini's men put 4 past Venezia, as a star turn from Mario Pasalic inspired them to a 4th straight win.
Super Mario gets his hat-trick.
Champions Inter continued their quiet progress for a 2nd straight win and clean sheet. Junior Messias inspired Milan to victory at Genoa.
Milan seconds on the stroke of half-time.
While Napoli went to sleep at Sassuolo.
Napoli have spurned and squandered a 2-goal lead.
Leaving the top 3 of Napoli, Milan and Inter separated by just 2 points.
Elsewhere, Atalanta were just 5 points off the pace as they prepared for their trip to Naples in round 16. Napoli were without three big hitters, after Fabian Ruiz and Kalidou Koulibaly joined record signing Victor Osimhen on the treatment table. And Della took full advantage of their depleted opposition.
And it's swept home by Freuler.
To gate-crash the title race with a 3-2 win. Inter's form was ominous as a Roma old boy
Dzeko!
came back to haunt a former Nerazzurri icon in the capital. Serial goal-getter Ciro Immobile took his tally to 13 with a brace at Sampdoria.
It's just far too easy.
And despite sitting in 14th, 6 points clear of danger, Udinese boss Luca Gotti was told to pack his bags, following a 3-1 defeat at Empoli.
Pinamonti, and it's 3. Napoli continued to toil the following weekend, as a bizarre goal from Patrick Cutrone, it's deflected and in, secured Empoli a shock win at the Maradona. And Zlatan Ibrahimovic's acrobatic finish at Udinese,
Ibrahimovic! And he has saved the day for the Rossoneri here.
was only worth a point for Stefano Pioli's men. So Inzaghi's Inter went top of the table,
Alexis Sanchez with an absolute stunner.
thanks to a 4-0 demolition of Cagliari. And in Liguria, Manolo Gabbiadini struck again in the Derby della Lanterna,
And it is Sampdoria's night.
as Sampdoria piled the misery on rivals Genoa.
Francesco Caputo lights up the lantern for Sampdoria.
Matchday 18, the penultimate round of 2021, had everything. Tammy Abraham inspired Roma to a memorable win in Bergamo as the Giallorossi began to improve their wretched record against their rivals in the top 7.
Abraham! And it's all about Roma.
After their 4-goal salvo the previous weekend against Cagliari, Inter went one better at hapless Salernitana.
Gagliardini makes it 5.
While Udinese's new coach, Gabriele Cioffi, was making his mark as he inspired his side to a big win in Sardinia.
De Lofeo. Udinese strike first.
While despite being the early pace setters, Milan against Napoli had since become a meeting between 2nd and 4th. And after back-to-back defeats,
Zielinski takes the corner, and Elmas has the opening goal.
Elief Elmas's early header secured a massive win for Napoli in the title race.
From one step forward for Napoli to 2 steps back, Spalletti's men lost their final match of 2021 at home to Spezia, as a bizarre own goal from Juan Jesus consigned them to a 3rd defeat in December.
Spezia take the lead, and it looks like it's an own goal.
Elsewhere, Inter saw off Torino, and Milan won comfortably at Empoli. To leave the reigning champions with a 4-point cushion at the halfway stage. While at the other end, the bottom 3 were all at least 5 points from safety.
After the break, find out if Inter could convert their halfway lead into a 2nd straight Scudetto.
What is it? It is passion and style, heritage and diversity, creativity and innovation. Italy is simply extraordinary. Be it.
"2022 would begin with a spike in COVID-19 cases at several Serie A clubs, prompting 4 matches to be abandoned, including Inter's trip to Bologna.
Yet there was still plenty of entertainment on the pitch on Epiphany, as Milan beat Roma,
Ibrahimovic and Rafael Leao, that's brilliant. He's got Junior Messias in support, but he won't need him.
while Napoli were held at Juventus.
Chiesa deflected, and Juventus level.
Matchday 21 started just 3 days later with two more massive clashes. Roma were cruising to victory against Juventus, scoring either side of half-time to lead 3-1.
Pellegrini goes for goal! A strike worthy of Francesco Totti himself.
Before 3 goals in the space of 7 minutes changed everything.
McKennie over the top. This is Mattia De Sciglio! What a story!
Whereas at San Siro, 2 of Inter's defenders
And in the big moments, Skriniar rises.
showed their prowess at the other end of the pitch.
Bastoni. They can score from anywhere.
To secure a 2-1 win over Lazio. While Sassuolo's young pair of Giacomo Raspadori and Gianluca Scamacca continued to make a splash as the Neroverdi smashed 5 past Empoli. There was more movement in the dugout as Genoa relieved Andriy Shevchenko of his position after a loss at home to rivals Spezia the previous weekend meant the Ukrainian didn't win a single one of his 9 matches in charge.
Sadly for the Grifone, it would go from bad to worse, as they shipped 6 in Florence under caretaker boss Abdoulaye Konko, with Dusan Vlahovic scoring his 17th league goal of the season.
Vlahovic, it's 4.
In what would prove to be his final appearance for the club. There would be a coaching change on the other side of the city too. Sampdoria surrendered the lead, and a home defeat to Torino spelled the end for Roberto D'Aversa. Inter couldn't find a way past Atalanta in Bergamo.
Alexis Sanchez and the save from Musso.
Ending their 8-game winning run. While Milan were shocked at San Siro by plucky Spezia.
He gets there and he wins it. Emanuele Dazi.
Allowing Napoli to close to within 4 points of the top with a win in Bologna.
Irving Lozano doubles Napoli's lead.
The Rossoneri lost further ground on their cross-city rivals after they were held at home to Juventus, as Inter scraped by Venezia.
Edin Dzeko, the champion spirit, save for the last minute of the game.
And Genoa's new German boss, Alexander Blessin, hinted at things to come with the goalless draw against Udinese in his first match in charge. Sampdoria had turned to a familiar face in Marco Giampaolo, but his return to the Blu Cerchiati hot seat
Here's Verde!
began with a loss at rivals Spezia.
Giampaolo made the most of the January international break with tactical work on the training ground. And Samp returned to action by brushing aside Sassuolo in a 4-0 rout at Marassi.
Gorgeous finish from Andrea Conti.
A new signing caught the eye in Salerno as Simone Verdi scored 2 stunners on his debut.
He's done it once. He's done it twice.
Yet the Granata could only draw at home to Spezia.
Salernitana 2, Spezia 2.
And 2 new faces hit the ground running in Turin.
Vlahovic is in here, and of course he scores. Just a dozen minutes into his debut.
as Juventus continued their resurgence with a home victory over Verona.
Denis Zakaria, is it another debut goal? January has been good to Juventus.
Cagliari showed signs of life with a shock 2-1 win in Bergamo.
And Pereiro at the double.
But all eyes were on San Siro as Inter went into the second derby della Madonnina, leading rivals Milan by 4 points in the table. The Nerazzurri were heading 7 points clear of their neighbours when they took the lead just before the break.
Çalhanoğlu curls it in, and Perisic!
Until Olivier Giroud
Brahim Diaz sets himself, and in it goes from Olivier Giroud!
turned the match and the title race on its head.
It's Olivier Giroud's night! What a turnaround in the second half, and potentially what a turnaround in the race for the Scudetto.
Napoli's win in Venice
Osimhen! It had to be him.
left the top three separated by just a single point, but Inter had a game in hand.
In Matchday 25, Insigne gave Inter an early scare.
It's Insigne! And Napoli lead!
But the Nerazzurri rescued a point thanks to a goal from Edin Dzeko. Leaving Milan with a clear path to the Serie A summit, courtesy of victory over Sampdoria.
Absolutely brilliant once again from Rafael Leao. Group 1 from Milan, pinpoint from Maignan.
Juventus extended their unbeaten run to 11 games, as a late equaliser got them out of jail in Bergamo.
Danilo rises in the 92nd minute.
In other news, Salernitana and Stefano Colantuono never really hit it off, and he was let go on St. Valentine's Day, a day on from a 1-1 draw at Genoa.
Salernitana turned to survival specialist Davide Nicola in their efforts to beat the drop. And his side even led mighty Milan at the Arecchi.
Milan Juric heads Salernitana into the lead.
Until Ante Rebic scored late on for a share of the points. It wasn't just Milan who got stage fright, as Inter fluffed their lines at home to Sassuolo.
Traoré looks for Scamacca! And Sassuolo have a second!
Despite a barrage of chances. And it seemed the jitters were contagious,
An absolute howler from Ospina!
as Napoli missed the chance to join Milan at the top. Only drawing at Cagliari thanks to a late goal from record signing Victor Osimhen.
The Azzurri would set the record straight in round 27, but not before their title rivals had continued to falter. As Alexander Blessin's Genoa made it 5 draws from 5, with a stubborn stalemate at home to Inter. Whereas Milan were stunned at San Siro by Udinese.
Udinese equalise, and it is Udogi.
Leaving Napoli with the chance to move top with a win in the capital. Just when it seemed the Azzurri had hit their stride,
Insigne now! And Napoli have the breakthrough!
they stumbled again.
Well struck by Pedro! Brilliantly struck by Pedro! It's the late equaliser for Lazio!
Until there was an even later twist in the tale.
Fabian Ruiz! He wins it with the last kick of the game!
So Napoli and Milan sat level on points after 27 matches ahead of their meeting at the Maradona.
After a run of 2 points from 12, Inter rediscovered their shooting boots.
Dzeko for Lautaro Martinez! It's another hat-trick in Inter colours.
To record another 5-0 win over Salernitana. But after the euphoria of the previous week, Milan brought Napoli crashing back down to earth, as Olivier Giroud produced another telling moment in the title race.
Turned in by Giroud, and Milan lead in Naples.
Despite dispatching Salernitana, Inter's flaws were once again on display.
Remo wheels away in celebration.
As the Nerazzurri could only come away with a point from Torino. While Milan were developing a happy knack of keeping clean sheets. And an unlikely goal scorer sealed a narrow win over Empoli.
It's a brilliant goal, Pierre Kalulu.
From an unlikely scorer to an obvious marksman.
Victor Osimhen gives Napoli the lead.
As Napoli's top scorer bagged a brace in a 2-1 win at Hellas Verona.
The following weekend, Inter were held at home by Fiorentina, meaning the Nerazzurri had taken just 7 points from as many matches.
Dumfries! And minutes after falling behind, the champions are level.
While Osimhen repeated the trick for Napoli, as they came from behind to beat Udinese.
Osimhen!
And Milan needed a moment of magic
Benacer! Splendid goal!
to take maximum points in Sardinia.
Big moment in the title race!
A 4th straight win for Juventus extended their unbeaten run to 16 matches, leaving the Bianconeri just 1 point behind Inter ahead of the Derby d'Italia. In the Eternal City, Roma got off to a flyer
Tammy Abraham inside 1 minute.
as they dispatched rivals Lazio in one of their most convincing displays of the season.
A moment of derby magic.
The following weekend, Napoli got their own back on Atalanta, as La Dea's form was undermined by a wretched home record.
Politano, a perfectly executed free kick move by Napoli.
Udinese proved they were Cagliari's bogey team, once again defeating the Rossoblu by a 4-goal margin to leave Walter Mazzarri's side in real trouble. In-form Juventus met out-of-form Inter in a pivotal match in the title race. Despite dominating for large periods, the old lady could find no way past Samir Handanovic, and a retaken penalty
Up steps Çalhanoğlu and Szczęsny saves!
saw Hakan Çalhanoğlu seal the points at the second time of asking.
Çalhanoğlu against Szczęsny, part 2. And this time there's a different outcome. Inter's title challenge is still on track.
Milan further showcased their defensive resolve with another clean sheet. But it was 2 points dropped for the Rossoneri as they failed to break down Bologna. While Venezia once again had that sinking feeling, as Spezia's Emmanuel Jazzy scored another added time winner.
Jazzy! They've done it again!
So with 7 matches left, Milan sat a point clear of Napoli, with Inter 4 points behind, albeit with a game in hand.
Coming up, drama at both ends of the table as the campaign built to a crescendo.
What is it? It is passion and style, heritage and diversity, creativity and innovation, Italy is simply extraordinary. Be it.
Beginning the weekend in third, Inter would make up ground on their title rivals in Matchday 32.
Perfectly timed run, neat finish.
As goals from Nicolò Barella and Edin Dzeko sealed victory over Verona. The following day saw a thriller in Naples.
Gonzalez! Fiorentina strike first.
Where Fiorentina proved too good.
Cabral! Fiorentina heading for victory.
For Luciano Spalletti's Napoli. While in Turin, Milan's ongoing inability to score was becoming an issue after a second straight goalless draw. Elsewhere, struggling Venezia once again switched off.
Picao breaks Venezia's heart right at the death
To throw away a valuable point against Udinese. There was a hat-trick for Ciro Immobile on his old stomping ground, as Genoa were put to the sword by Lazio.
Ciro Immobile seals it with a kiss.
Inter were first up on Easter weekend at Spezia as Marcelo Brozovic's first league goal of the season.
And here's Brozovic! Stunning finish!
Made Good Friday even better for the Nerazzurri en route to a 3-1 win. That result briefly dislodged Milan from top spot until Rafael Leao.
Exactly what Milan needed, an early goal.
And Junior Messias got the Rossoneri back to winning ways. Salernitana scored twice in 6 minutes
Federico Bazio with it.
to seal only a 4th win of the campaign at Sampdoria. But Cagliari's narrow win over Sassuolo
It's Deola. 1-0 Cagliari.
meant the Granata still sat bottom, 9 points from safety, but with 2 games in hand. Napoli appeared on course to respond to their rivals on Easter Monday after an early penalty from Insigne.
Once again, the captain didn't blink from 12 yards.
Yet Roma's never-say-die spirit came to the fore at the Maradona.
El Shaarawy! If the title wasn't already gone, it surely is now for Napoli.
To leave the Azzurri 4 points behind leaders Milan.
But it was in Matchday 34 where Napoli's title challenge finally ended. As despite cruising to a 2-goal cushion at Empoli early on in the second half, the Partenopei froze.
Alex Meret ruins Napoli's hopes.
At the worst possible time.
Napoli are no longer going to win the Scudetto.
A day earlier, Inter had appeared ominously good in dispatching Roma 3-1 at San Siro.
Brozovic! That is absolutely majestic.
Ahead of a huge game between their respective rivals at the Olimpico, Simone Inzaghi hoped for a favour from his former side. And the Biancocelesti swiftly delivered. But Lazio hadn't legislated for the league leader's pride.
Massive moment for Milan.
Sandro Tonali giving Stefano Pioli's men some much-needed momentum.
On such moments do seasons sway.
Salernitana had dramatically won one of their games in hand.
Simone Verdi! And Salernitana are still alive!
And another victory in Matchday 34 secured 3 wins in 8 days.
And Bonazzoli buries it!
The same number of victories they had managed all season.
What once looked impossible has since become improbable and could yet become distinctly possible.
Genoa had to beat Cagliari in a mammoth 6-pointer at Marassi.
Milan Bardell for Genoa in the 89th minute.
and did just that to stay in the hunt to beat the drop, leaving the bottom four in close proximity with 4 matches to go.
In late April, Inter finally got to play their game in hand of Bologna and came herring out the traps.
Perisic! The most sensational start for Inter.
But a Nerazzurri old boy...
Arnautovic! It's the former Inter player on target.
And an Inter understudy.
Andre Radu, the stand-in keeper, has had a howler.
Hadn't read the script.
And has that cost Inter the Scudetto.
Milan now knew 3 wins and a draw would seal the Scudetto. But a hugely taxing run-in would begin at home to Fiorentina. And with the scoreline goalless after 82 minutes, Inter fans were starting to celebrate. Until Fiorentina's Pietro Terracciano became the latest keeper to make a costly, high-profile mistake.
Raffaele out! He punishes the mistake from Fiorentina.
Inter didn't blink, however, winning at Udinese, thanks in part to another early goal from Ivan Perisic.
My goodness, they needed that!
While Napoli let out all of their frustration on Sassuolo.
It's 4 for Napoli, with 20 minutes played!
Smashing 6 past the Neroverdi at the Maradona. Genoa conceded early in the derby to leave them with a mountain to climb, but they would be handed the chance for a late reprieve.
The Genoa skipper has faltered from 12 yards.
And Cagliari lost to Verona in Walter Mazzari's final game in charge before his dismissal. While in Bergamo, Salernitana drew at Atalanta, boosting their own survival hopes and denting Ladea's European aspirations in the process.
Matchday 36 delivered unrivaled entertainment, as Empoli stunned Inter by grabbing a 2-goal lead at the Meazza.
And they've got a second, Christian Aslani.
But the Nerazzurri's top scorer,
Lautaro Martinez!
dug them out of a hole in a 4-2 victory.
Of course it's him! The comeback is complete!
There was redemption for Genoa skipper Mimo Criscito, as the Grifoni overcame a deficit at home to Juventus.
Paulo Dybala! You knew it was coming!
To seal the most exhilarating
Gudmundsson, the equaliser for Genoa!
added time victory.
Mimo Criscito steps up and he scores! What a dramatic moment, it's a fairy tale for the Genoa captain!
Under new coach Andrea Soncin, Venezia needed to beat Bologna to have any chance of continuing the fight. But after spurning a 2-0 lead, the Lagunari trailed by 3-2. Yet somehow, improbably,
And it is Venezia 3, Bologna 3.
pulled themselves off the canvas.
Janssen scored an absolute wonderful goal!
Venezia would only live to fight another day, provided Salernitana didn't defeat Cagliari. And the writing was on the wall for the men from Venice midway through the second half.
Survival is very much in sight now for Salernitana.
But Cagliari summoned strength from somewhere to equalise in the 99th minute.
By the skin of their teeth, Giorgio Altare with the goal.
Unfair Verona had twice dashed Milan's Scudetto dreams in the past, and it seemed a repeat of 1973 and 1990 was on the cards.
Faraoni with the opener. Inter have the advantage in the title race.
But Rafael Leao then presented not one,
And once again, Tonali the key man in the title race.
but two gifts to birthday boy Sandro Tonali.
Could that be the Scudetto winning combination for Milan?
Allowing the Rossoneri to keep Inter at bay.
Fatal Verona no more. The Pentagoni has lost its fear factor.
On the penultimate weekend of the campaign, Salernitana trailed at Empoli to give their rivals cause for optimism. But the Granata stretched their unbeaten run with a precious point.
Bonazzoli, the equaliser for Salernitana.
Though they should really have won the game.
And Vicario saves to deny Salernitana their fairy tale ending.
Either way, that result relegated Venezia. Though that didn't stop them from shocking Roma. And despite a host of efforts off the woodwork, the Giallorossi could only manage a draw.
Finally in by Shomurodov.
Genoa's loss in Naples would leave them relying on Cagliari drawing against Inter to keep their fight going until the final day.
Stanislav Lobotka, take a bow.
But before that match in Sardinia, there was the small matter of Milan against Atalanta. After a cagey first half at San Siro, two magic moments.
Rafael Leao again for Milan.
Made it 5 straight victories for the Rossoneri.
Theo Hernandez! If they weren't already winning the Scudetto, they surely are after that.
So Inter knew anything other than a win would see their rivals crowned champions with a week to spare. Yet the Scudetto holders held their nerve once again.
Lautaro Martinez.
Cagliari had threatened to rally.
Lico Yanis. And Cagliari strike back immediately.
But defeat left the Islanders staring relegation in the face.
Lautaro Martinez wraps it up.
And confirmed Genoa's relegation. And in the home match against Lazio, Juventus pair of Giorgio Chiellini and Paolo Dybala bid farewell to the old lady after 17 and 7 seasons with the club, respectively. So heading into the final weekend, only a few top-half teams already knew their fate. Napoli and Juventus were certain of Champions League qualification, while Lazio would also be playing European football. But only 2 of Roma, Fiorentina and Atalanta could join them.
In Matchday 38, Roma brushed aside Torino to seal a Europa League place.
Tammy Abraham scores the opening goal.
And Fiorentina produced a rousing display
Duncan!
to beat Juventus and book a European return after 5 years away at the expense of Atalanta. Salernitana began the final day 2 points clear of Cagliari, but would need to win if the Rosso Blu took maximum points in Venice. The evening began in disastrous fashion for the Granata as they shipped 3 goals in the first half.
Udogi! Udinese ripping Salernitana's dreams to pieces here.
Despite that, Cagliari could only draw at already relegated Venezia. So Salernitana's great escape under Davide Nicola was bizarrely sealed with a 4-0 home loss to spark wild celebrations at the Arecchi. All that was left to be decided was who would be lifting the title. Milan's 2-point lead and better head-to-head record meant a draw would suffice in Reggio Emilia, with the Mappei decked out in red and black. The Rossoneri had been beaten by Sassuolo in the reverse fixture.
He's lost it to Rafael Leao.
But any fears of a similar result were soon dispelled by a breathtaking first-half performance.
Rafael Leao for Giroud! And Another big goal in the title race from the Frenchman.
And once the Frenchman added a second,
Raphael Leao, and it's the same combination. Olivier Giroud does it again. And Milan now are marching towards the Scudetto.
the celebrations could begin in earnest.
Here's Raphael Leao looking for Kessié! In his final match as a Milan player, Kessié provides the knockout blow.
To their credit, Simone Inzaghi's Inter still defeated Sampdoria, but would have to settle for a second-place finish, as Milan triumphed for the first time since 2011, ending the season with 6 straight victories as part of a 16-game unbeaten run.
So Milan tops the pile with 86 points to win their 19th Scudetto, while Napoli returned to the Champions League and Fiorentina were also back in Europe. Empoli and Salernitana both stayed up after promotion the previous year, but Genoa's and Cagliari's lengthy stints in the top flight came to an end. Ciro Immobile finished as the league's top scorer with 27 goals, while Mike Maignan, Bremer, Marcelo Brozovic and Immobile claimed individual awards as the league's best players in their respective positions. And Milan's Portuguese superstar Raphael Leao was named the MVP. That brings to a close a sensational Serie A season. We leave you with some of the best of Milan's title celebrations. Thanks for watching. See you next season.